The next video that I wanted to watch is it's a longer one, but it's really good. I've actually watched this one before. It's got by a guy named Prime Pete, and he made a video called Stop Playing Ranked, the proof. And essentially this one is about how ranked play is rigged in Modern Warfare 3, or rigged in a way. So yeah, you'll see what I mean when we get into it, but it's a really good video. We'll have it linked somewhere, probably if you're watching this on YouTube, down in the description. But check this video out. It's really good, and I kind of wanted to give you my opinion on it because I think a lot of what he says in here is very right.
Call of Duty's ranked mode is awfully designed. It's not meant to give you a viable competitive experience, it's not meant to reward you for being good at the game, and it's not meant to have integrity.
I agree with what he's saying here, but not for the reasons that you're thinking. So the reasons that I've disliked other games for their ranked play was because the SR system was crap and it was designed to just suck time out of you, and it had nothing to do with skill level. He does talk about that, and I have seen this video before, but I think it's a really good watch.
In COD, it's meant for player retention and addiction, and by that standard, it's rigged. Let me explain. Modern Warfare 3's ranked mode uses something called hidden MMR. MMR stands for matchmaking rank, and being hidden means that only the matchmaking algorithm knows what your matchmaking rank is. You can't see it. MMR is essentially just your skill rating, and just to add to the silliness, this same rating is also used in public matches to the same degree it is in ranked. Now, before I get started, here's the best COD player in the world talking about how hidden MMR is a horrible idea in ranked before I get started.
There's no way this is how ranked is supposed to be. There shouldn't be a hidden MMR inside of ranked.
So essentially what they're saying here is that you have your ranked rank, which will display as like iridescent or whatever you're placed into, but you also have a hidden rank, the hidden MMR, and that's the main thing that they're going to talk about throughout this, and it makes no sense.
What the f is the point of ranked
exactly
if there's a hidden MMR? It just doesn't make sense. It's like skill-based matchmaking in public games. Why the f would you have skill-based in a public game?
Now, this is immediately where the first problem arises. When you're matched in a rank mode by hidden MMR first, and then rank as a secondary parameter, it completely takes away any kind of integrity that a ranked mode has. Let's say, for example, it is the start of a season, and you, along with the rest of the player base, are in bronze. When you...
This is the best point that he makes, I think.
Queue up for a match, you're not actually able to match against every single player that's in bronze.
Which makes no sense.
Only able to match against players that have a hidden MMR that's near enough to yours within that rank and a little bit outside of your rank. So despite the entire population of players being ranked in bronze at the start of a season, you can only experience the game with a tiny percentage of them because the hidden MMR takes away a vast majority of your play options, given as it's heavily prioritized. Imagine that you're an iridescent player from the previous season. Now you're in bronze again at the start of the next season, but you're only playing against other previously iridescent level players as well.
So the thing that I would want to know with this is, does it only take, because ranked is a very different beast than regular multiplayer. It's very different, and different weapons, different things you can use, things are banned, you play differently, it's different. And I'm curious if it, like what he's explaining here is that if you're an iridescent in one season, you go back to bronze at the beginning of seasons, most of the players that you're going to be playing, yes, are in bronze, but they were in iridescent before. So really you're just playing against iridescent players. I'm also curious if it takes your stats from regular multiplayer and puts those into effect as well. Like, just like there's skill-based matchmaking in regular play, do they take that and also add that? I can't remember if he goes into that or not, but...
Meaning that you're playing the most stiff competition in the entire game, but you're in the lowest rank. That doesn't make a lick of sense. Additionally, let's say you're not that good at the game and you're in bronze at the start of the season. Now, instead of facing that previously mentioned intense competition, you're facing other players who may have the same lack of skill that you do. So, two players in bronze can be in the same league, but one is playing against the top 10% exclusively, and the other is playing against the bottom 10% exclusively. In the context of a ranked mode, it doesn't make any sense. Instead of being matched with other players by rank,
if you're playing against the bottom 10% of players, you should just be playing in bronze.
You're being matched based on hidden MMR, or your skill rating, that you don't know, and your actual rank is highly secondary. This kind of system creates two fundamental problems. Number one, it invalidates the meaning of each rank, because within each rank, there is a huge skill disparity, regardless of the rank you're talking about. Just like Bronze has extremely high-level players and low-level players at the start of a season. Instead of each rank having a discernible skill and competency level, and growing past that level allows you to rank up, you rank up solely on the basis that you beat players of your own exact skill level, whether you're a great player.
Which, by the way, with what I was saying, I like the SR system if it worked the way as intended. However, it doesn't. That's what he's saying here, because you were only playing players of your skill level, which means it's not actually, your rank isn't actually a means of how good you are. It's a means of how much you've played the game against similar skill level players.
Or not so great. This ties into number two, which is the fact that it eliminates any semblance of the rewarding nature of a ranked mode. It doesn't reward improvement because you're constantly playing people with very similar skills to you, regardless of your rank. And if you improve, your competition is just going to get proportionally more difficult, but your rank stays exactly the same. In other words, instead of allowing you to rank up when you surpass the skill ceiling of a particular rank, the game punishes you for improving, because as soon as you improve, you don't promote in rank. You just play higher level players within that same rank. Your improvement and skill level is not at all reflected in your rank. So
to play devil's advocate real quickly, I completely believe what he's saying here, by the way. But just to play devil's advocate, I don't think he provides any proof that this is what's going on. But as we see, players like Scump and things like that are saying that this is what's happening. And then I think he might go into it a bit, but he talks about these high-level players getting reset at the beginning of a season and then still playing against those high-level players, not getting against a normal bronze player.
So these are obviously two huge problems. So how do other games mitigate this problem? And why doesn't COD mitigate this
I love that he goes into this because it actually gives a way to actually do this in game that makes sense.
Well, to start, games with any competitive integrity don't use hidden MMR, and more critically, use what are called placement matches, which I'm sure you're probably familiar with. Placement matches allow
So the first time I experienced that was in StarCraft
players
2.
to have their skills evaluated, and based on that evaluation, they're placed in the rank that best embodies their skills. This does two very positive things. Firstly, it allows each rank to have a defined skill and competency level. That is, you can tell the difference.
So what that would look like in Call of Duty is at the beginning of a season or when you started playing, you play 5 placement matches and it takes into account your score per minute, whether you win, whether you lose, everything like that. And it'd be like, I think you are a platinum player, right in the middle. And then from there, you can level up or level down based off of that. Whereas this just throws you in bronze right away. And you'd think you'd be competing against bronze players, but as we see, that's not the case.
It's between a platinum and a bronze player because one player clearly demonstrates better mechanics and skills. Secondly, it allows you to quickly rank up once you gain the skills necessary to break out of your current rank. It is a very healthy competitive environment because it rewards skill improvement with promotions. Players being ranked based on their skill and matched together exclusively within their rank with other players with similar skill offers a much more competitively viable ecosystem. On the flip side, you have the way COD handles it, which does the opposite of what placement matches accomplish. First, because everyone starts in the same place and has to climb, but only plays against players of their own skill level while doing so, each rank does not have a discernible average skill level.
It's just about time played, because over time, your SR is going to go up and you're playing against similar skill level players. That's what I hate in rank play. I don't want it to be a time grind. I want it to be how good you are grind.
Rank has really good players, mediocre players, and bad players. Now, you can argue that the higher ranks, like Crimson and Iridescent, are only composed of good players. And while that's probably the case, my argument still very much stands for the first 5 ranks at least. And the only reason the higher ranks are filled with exclusively good players is because they're the ones that want to put in the most time. This all happens because you're matched based on hidden MMR, not rank. And there are no placement matches. This takes away the definition ranks have, and there can easily be no difference in skill between a bronze and a diamond player, or inversely, an average level diamond player that plays ranked more could get smoked by a really good bronze player that just doesn't happen to play ranked that much. It hilariously doesn't make any sense, and as absurd as that example sounds, it's entirely realistic. Further, if you're a great player starting in bronze, you're playing against really tough competition the entire time it takes to get to gold, for example. If you're an average average player, you're playing average level competition the entire time it takes to get to gold. The point is, because the journey to each rank is different for every level of player because of your hidden MMR being measured, ranks have no discernible or fair skill disparities. Ranks are based mostly on your time investment because your competition getting there is constantly equal to you, regardless of the rank that you're in. A mediocre player who grinds to platinum had an entirely different experience than a very...
And yes, if you've played more, you are probably going to be a better player. Most likely. I think that's fair to say. But at the same time, it isn't necessarily the case. That's why if you watch someone play, you can probably be like, oh, that person looks like a diamond player because of the time they've put into it. But in reality, that entire time, they've probably been playing against the same skill level player
grinding to platinum. And in a ranked mode, that doesn't make any sense. They're in the same rank, yet both face significantly disproportionate levels of challenges in order to actually get there. It has no competitive integrity whatsoever. Improvement is not rewarded. Actually, the lower your hidden MMR, the less challenging it is to rank up, which means that technically you are fully able to reverse boost in Call of Duty's ranked mode and still somehow rank up multiple times. Any game with a good ranked mode will have two fundamental principles that I covered earlier. One, players are matched exclusively based on their rank alone and are placed there by placement matches, which is an evaluation of skill. And two, improvement is rewarded by a promotion because you've surpassed the skill ceiling of your rank. Once players learn to improve past that skill ceiling, they will be able to promote into the next rank, which they've earned and deserve. In a good ranked mode that has integrity, your rank actually means something and accurately reflects your current skill level. COD's ranked mode goes against these two fundamental principles. One, you're matched by hidden MMR, which, as we discussed earlier, creates vast skill disparities within every rank, taking away the definition of each rank and invalidating the meaning of being a certain rank. And two, improvement is punished because instead of surpassing your rank skills,
which oddly is a very similar way to what the way that they deal with it in non-ranked, is you get put up against similar skill level players, except you just don't have a rank that goes with
ceiling, allowing you to promote, you're instead instantly matched with better players without changing your rank at all, making your journey to the next rank not easier, but much more difficult. So now that we've established that COD's ranked mode is fundamentally flawed and is horrendously designed, we must ask, why is this a thing? Why have a ranked mode without placement matches where ranks are meaningless and where your improvement is punished? Well, it all circles back to player retention, as most everything in COD is about nowadays.
I was just about to say, which all of Call of Duty
hold on. How can a ranked system so objectively terrible breed player retention? Well, this is going to shock you and scare you. We have to remember that this same system is present within public matches as well. COD is no stranger to hidden MMR because that's exactly what's been used in pubs for the last 6 years. Except we're missing a key detail that we're now going to apply to the ranked mode, which should scare you a little. All signs point to Call of Duty using EOMM, or
oh, I thought it was supposed to be scary.
Engagement optimized matchmaking, which, if you're unfamiliar, is a matchmaking algorithm that puts you into matches that are the most likely.
This is what skill-based matchmaking actually is, by the way.
To keep you engaged in the game. This matchmaking is based on research by the people who invented it that shows that inconsistent results breed a higher amount of player retention. For example, consistent losses render the player twice as likely to get off the game than if they experienced a draw, loss, and then a win. All you need to know is that it's a matchmaking algorithm that throws you rigged matches,
which is crazy because if you look at that, it also says that you have a higher chance of getting off if you win 3 games in a row. So they try to make it so that you have a mixture of
to make you perform a certain way, to force a certain result on you and keep you more interested in the game that way. And in the study, they've actually compared it to other forms of matchmaking, such as connection-based matchmaking, random matchmaking, and skill-based matchmaking. And in practice, it outperforms all of them. Now, here's the real scary part. Say that I want to throw a player a loss, another loss, and then a win, because within this data, it's shown to have the smallest risk of the player getting off the game. What parameters must I take into account in order to guarantee this player has this string of results? Well, if you couldn't guess, the most important parameter I have to take into account is their skill level, because otherwise, how would I throw them a match that's guaranteed to force a loss on them? I'd have to somehow measure their skill level, turn it into a numerical value, and then throw them into a game where they're inherently at a disadvantage.
So an easy way to look at that is you play enough, and say they rank players from 1 to 100. And you are a 69 out of 100. They take into account maybe how many bullets you hit out of all of them, how fast you play, your score per minute, your kill death, your win loss, and you get ranked to 69. If they want you to lose, they are going to put you in a game where you're somewhat evenly distributed, but everyone on the other team is higher than a 69. Or if they really want you to lose, if you've won too many in a row, now everyone's going to be an 80 while you're still a 69.
Or maybe I'll put them into a match where their bullet damage is slightly handicapped, or more notably, and Modern Warfare 3 players can relate to this, their spawns are so bad to the point where they can't possibly perform well because they're spawning in front of people.
So I believe people have tested reduced bullet damage. 69, nice. I believe people have tested the reduced bullet damage with engagement optimized matchmaking, and I believe that was found to be false. Now, worse spawns, that one I have not heard before.
Too far away from people, too far away from the objective, or they're just getting killed from their opponents revenge spawning. Long story short, the #1 parameter taken into account to force results on you to breed player retention is your skill level. And ironically, let's not forget that hidden MMR is your skill rating. If you were able to see your hidden MMR on the lobby screen before a match, you could easily tell if a game was meant to be extremely competitive, like this game, where everyone's hidden MMR is almost exactly the same, thus resulting in a extremely competitive.
By the way, I don't think there's like a way to see your hidden MMR, but
match where everyone almost has the same skill level, or extremely one-sided, like a guaranteed win, like this example, or a loss where one team's skill level.
But that's the thing, is when you're playing ranked play, you're supposed to be able to see where you fall in line. So if you get in a game and you're a higher rank than everyone else, you're supposed to be the best player in that lobby. But because your actual MMR you can't see, it's silly. And I would actually prefer if they got rid of the ranks and just showed your MMR. And yeah, you could put rewards with that, but in my opinion, it'd be better.
Heavily in favor because they're just better, or well balanced, which almost never happens, that has a variety of skill levels on every team.
And that's what regular multiplayer is supposed to be.
It's because if it were visible, there would be clear proof that you're intended to have a certain experience within every single match.
I'm fine with not seeing an MMR in public matches, but when you're playing ranked,
is what Activision wants. But we have to understand that hidden MMR is the foundation for rigged games. It is the foundation for EOMM, a well-known rigged matchmaking practice that Call of Duty undoubtedly uses. And we know they use it because 1, matches take forever to find because they're trying to find an engaging match. 2, your ping is routinely awful because it's sacrificing your connection to give you a more engaging match. And 3, the player experience suggests that most matches are extremely competitive, or they just get rigged spawns, rigged damage, or other rigged parameters that force a certain result on them regardless of the match. So we have to wonder, if EOMM can breed player retention in pubs, what's stopping it from doing that in ranked? Likewise, why wouldn't they use it in ranked if they already use it in pubs and it's shown to work? After all, in ranked, if you can't recall, we're matched exclusively by hidden MMR, and rank is incredibly secondary. If you're in bronze, you can match with anyone up to around platinum as long as their hidden MMR is around the same as yours. This doesn't make any sense in regards to a ranked mode. So while rank isn't totally disregarded, it holds very little significance, as we established much earlier. Additionally, isn't it a little strange how there are no placement matches and instead everyone starts in bronze and matches based on hidden?
Which is super weird because when this first came out, I didn't even think of that. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You start at the lowest rank. But like when you really think about it, that makes no sense because then everyone is just ranked bronze. And then everyone should be playing against, it should be like playing pub matches when it first starts. But yeah.
MMR in order to rank up the entire time. This is certainly about player retention. Starting at the very bottom means that you'll have to work harder to climb to the top, obviously, instead of being fairly placed on a rung in the competitive ladder that accurately reflects your skill level based on placement matches. This means that players have to play for longer to rank up. As a result, this ends up giving Activision player retention. But this is where it actually gets a little terrifying. What is mainly reliant on hidden MMR in order to breed higher amounts of player retention? What single-handedly ruins the public match experience? And what is in their best interest to use in ranked in order to retain players for longer? What fits this goal of player retention perfect?
I'm assuming he's just going with engagement optimized matchmaking.
And if they're going purely for player retention, would be stupid not to use it. Well, you guessed it, EOMM. Yes, what I'm trying to tell you is that every single sign, every questionable attribute of COD's ranked mode is only there because Call of Duty uses engagement optimized matchmaking within its ranked mode as well.
Which
hidden MMR allows you to be thrown into matches where your result is guaranteed because you can artificially set up certain skill disparities between between teams, forcing results. And if you're trying to climb the ranks, slowing you down on purpose by throwing you a game with other players that are conveniently 7 times your ranked level or conveniently 3 ranks above you with the intent to make you lose that match is a guaranteed way to retain players that are climbing the ranks. You're slowing down their progress towards their ultimate.
Which, what he's not saying there is, I think it's pretty rare that you're playing in a bronze lobby and then you get up against a whole lobby of diamonds. But if there's a bunch of people in bronze, because Call of Duty is a big game, that have the hidden MMR and are way better than you and they want to hand you a loss, they're going to do that. And you won't be able to see it, and it's not going to feel like, you're just going to feel like you're the worst bronze player, when in reality, these are actually diamond players. They just haven't played that much yet.
Goal of reaching their desired rank. And since these are the more competitive players, they're almost guaranteed not to give up if they're unaware of what's going on. If they're going for player retention, it would be highly counterproductive to not also throw an EOMM on top of these pre-existing practices that are designed to retain players as well. So even though hidden MMR in a ranked mode is a big no-no, they've not only done it within their ranked mode, but they've made it increasingly obvious that their ranked mode is purely about player retention by designing it to allow even bad and mediocre players to climb to higher ranks without as great of a challenge as good players.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying, Bonsai. It's crazy to think they have any matchmaking system in ranked that isn't just the ranked, right? Like, that should be the matchmaking. Is you're playing ranked, they're going to put you against the players closest to your rank, and that's who you're going to play against. If you beat them, you go up a rank. They lose, you go down a rank. And then you play slightly better or slightly worse people. But that's not what's happening.
Forcing everyone to start on ground zero instead of using placement matches to measure their skill. But what glues all these pieces together is the ranked experience in general. From the games that I've played personally, I can tell you that there is something definitely going on that throws you matches you're guaranteed to lose. And even though I've only played ranked a few times, the bronze lobbies I've gotten were just as sweaty as my public matches. And in pubs, I'm consistently matching against Crimson players, Iridescent players, or top 250 players. It doesn't make any sense unless hidden MMR is being used. Additionally, after my team and I won a good amount of games, we were thrown into a match with players that significantly exceeded our ranks. We were nowhere above ranked level 4, and most of us had just started out, and we matched against a team where nobody had a rank below 30. We were playing a game against players that literally exclusively played ranked, grinded it non-stop, and knew exactly what they were doing. And most of them were in silver while we were in bronze. I have no doubt that other players have also experienced this.
So, what would make sense is, say that this happened. You should, and if you're a good player and you're in bronze and you're getting a lot of wins, and all of a sudden they put you up against a bunch of silver players, you should get more SR and gain more to your rank if you win that game against them, because you should be leveled up faster. Because it's not just a time dump. If you're beating silver or you play in bronze and you beat a bunch of golds, it should bump you up to closer to gold after winning that game against them. And it should bump the gold players down further, but that's not what happens.
As well, and that definitely wouldn't happen if hidden MMR wasn't measured. And that's not just anecdotal from me. I found a good amount of Reddit threads talking about the horrible matchmaking within ranked. I'll link that down below. All of this evidence I just laid out points to one thing: ranked is rigged. Since EOMM uses hidden MMR to rig your matches in pubs, ranked is definitely no different.
I also like that in this video, he immediately gave a way to fix it. Immediately. He said, we need placement matches. Done. You get placed in, no hidden MMR, your rank is your rank.
It's not like Activision didn't also design the ranked mode. Their intentions are exactly the same. The ranked match that I described that I was playing, where my team was significantly outmatched, was not an even match. It wasn't designed to be even. These players didn't realistically belong in bronze and silver for how much they played ranked, and for their level. This game was a result of us winning too much, and as a result, the algorithm threw us a match we were supposed to lose. Every time this happens, where you're thrown into a ranked match where you're clearly outmatched by players, which happens more than it should within any ranked mode, it's the EOMM abusing the hidden MMR based system that's already initial.
Which that wouldn't be a problem if you were rewarded properly rank wise for beating them, because then it would just kind of be a tester match to see, oh, is this person actually a silver? Is this person actually a gold? But that's not what they're doing.
Horrible and in place, and then taking it to the next degree purely for player retention. So all I'm saying is, maybe don't play COD's ranked mode. Sure, the competitive rule set is fun, playing the objective is a nice change of pace, and having 4 people on a team makes it easier to play with a full squad of friends, but if you think that climbing the ranks is actually fair, fair, and each game already doesn't have some sort of predetermined outcome, whether it's designed to be even or tilted too much in one team's favor, take a step back and really question how the mode is designed. Call of Duty Ranked is very obviously designed exclusively for player retention, and as such, it's extremely prone to being rigged by the same EOMM algorithm that is already rigging our public matches. Here's the definitive conclusion for you. All the evidence. Do with it what you must. Call of Duty's ranked mode goes
Summarize
against
it for
everything
me.
a ranked mode should be. Improvement is punished with harder lobbies. Ranks don't have any meaning because any
Okay, well, that first one's wrong. Like, improvement, you should get better in ranked mode and then play against better players. Like, that's the way it should work. You shouldn't be punished for having a hidden MMR, but as you improve in ranked, you should play better players.
anyone can get to any rank if they play enough, and you don't have any
In
placement
ranked.
matches, which further takes away every rank's definition. All of these signs indisputably guarantee that COD's ranked mode uses hidden MMR, which should never be present in any ranked mode. This clearly indicates that ranked is all about player retention, as it doesn't annoy bad players and have them get hard stuck in bronze, and it forces you to grind instead of having placement matches, making it so you have to spend significantly longer to get to your desired rank than you otherwise would have to do in a normal ranked mode with placement matches. With the obvious desire for player retention comes the implication that they'd be stupid not to use the same form of matchmaking that breeds player retention in their public matches, EOMM. Not using EOMM would be foolish because it exactly aids them towards player retention, and there's no two ways about it. EOMM throws you predetermined match outcomes in order to breed player retention by slowing down your ranking process. More than enough ranked players have noticed that their ranked experience is so far from the norm, and that it takes longer to find matches the more that you're winning, and that they're matching far outside of their rank when it should be easy to find a match in your rank. The usage of EOMM in ranked is backed up by Activision's obvious philosophy of player retention over
Wait till this is
competitive
done and then I'll
integrity,
explain
as we
something.
see in their public matches, and not only that, but the entire player experience in ranked, which you can read about online, and Activision's history as a company, and how they've approached their matchmaking in the last 5 years' time. Since EOMM is an inherently rigged matchmaking algorithm that predetermines match outcomes, and it's being used in ranked, this leads us to believe that Call of Duty's ranked mode is rigged, and as a result, I'd recommend you stop playing it altogether until they fix it. Let me know your thoughts on the
They won't. They will not fix it, and the proof is in the pudding, because this is something that I have had an issue with in ranked for a very long time, and why I don't normally play it in Call of Duty. Some modes are better than others. Black Ops 2 is, I believe it was, that's the one that was really good. But the thing you have to remember is that when we have all of this going on, every single rank mode that I think we've received in Call of Duty has all been about playtime. Like, your rank is just, the more you play, the more rank you have, because there is no placement matches. And I hate that. I hate that to rank up in something, you need to put a ton of... If I'm an amazing player and I can only play 3 games a week, I should be able to get into the, maybe not top 250, but the top rank. And then if I want to grind out the top 250, yeah, those players will constantly be on. But you should be able to. It shouldn't be a time dump. It should be a test of how good you are at the game. And that's something that other games that are extremely popular, Counter-Strike, does very well. Is Warzone ranked the same way? I would be willing to bet that it is. I would be willing to bet that it is. I don't know that, and it's probably more varied, but it's definitely, they want... The difference with Warzone ranked is you're not going to win every game. Ranking up isn't based off of winning every game. So yeah. But that was a really good video. You guys should check out that video.
in the comments.
It was by Prime Pete. Prime Pete makes great videos, and that's the only one I've seen from him, and it's a really, really good video. He did a good job on it, so check it out.